Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
There's a new livestock pavilion at the State Fair of Virginia this year, a great facility to better showcase 4-H students. The taste of summer vegetables comes alive in a pesto pasta salad recipe in the heart of the home. And farming and history combine at a Civil War site in the northern Shenandoah Valley.
Welcome back everyone. We're here on this beautiful farm in Powhatan County, and it's the time of year when county fair season is winding down and the push is on for the State Fair of Virginia. And it's time when the 4-H students across the state will come to Doswell to compete in a brand new livestock arena for scholarships.
18-year-old Kelsey Trainor isn't what you would call your typical cattle woman. Trainor grew up in the city of Fredericksburg. When she was 12 years old, a friend encouraged her to bring a lamb to the 4-H show at the local county fair. And she was hooked on showing, but not on sheep.
But I just was like attached to cattle. Like I found it so interesting, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I want to take my money that I get from the show and sale and go out and buy a steer. So we went to a farm right down the road, and I was like, hey, do you have a steer I can buy? You know, we didn't know what we were doing, and he was like, yep. And so I bought my first steer for $1 a pound, and it weighed 300 pounds, so I paid $300 for it.
Call it beginner's luck, but Trainor and her steer won first place in their class that year, later going on to the State Fair of Virginia competition. The past 7 years, she has continued to compete at the fair, bringing a new steer each year. Trainor says the experience has taught her so much about the cattle business that she now has a career goal.
Well, I want to raise bucking bulls. Bull riding is very tricky because, you know, some people look at it as the person riding the bull, and I look at it totally different. I look at the bull. I also want to educate America, I guess you could say, because where I'm from, we don't have FFA or anything. And so, you know, schools that have FFA, they're very fortunate. And so I want to become an FFA teacher and have a bucking operation on the side.
Approximately 300 4-H and FFA students will show their animals in the new First Bank and Trust Company Pavilion at the State Fair of Virginia this year. More than $70,000 in scholarships will be awarded to the winners in the various livestock categories. Trainor says the brand new covered arena is a major improvement for the program.
I think it's a big opportunity for us to build our show and to make it bigger and to get more people or showmen to come and show, because I mean, this arena is huge. But now that Virginia's finally got one, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of things we can do with this building.
And not just at the State Fair. The pavilion will be in use all year long. Beef cattle shows, horse and dog shows, and many more events are already in the works. The covered arena offers many more opportunities for youth and professional agricultural programs at Meadow Event Park. Just like in the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And the State Fair of Virginia is looking forward to big crowds and excitement at the Livestock Pavilion from September 26th through October 5th.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about something you can do any time of the year that will help your plants. Stay with us.
I feel that family farms are very important because it's not just a living or occupation, it's a way of life. We live, work, and play right here in one location.
The grandchildren are around, and as often as they can, they'll come and say, Grandma, can I help?
There's a lot of challenges, but by having to be a family operation, it makes it all more enjoyable.
This is what I do, it's my livelihood, I enjoy doing it. This is my hobby, it's my vocation. It's a wonderful place to enjoy life with my wife, my children and grandchildren.
We're putting out a product for other people to drink and consume. We hope they like milk and cheese and ice cream and butter and all those good things.
What I've always done is what I enjoy doing. It's what I hope my family will continue to do in the future.
I'm Gerald Heatwell.
I'm Anita Heatwell.
I'm Monty Heatwell,
and I'm dedicated to dairy, our cows, our milk, and our land.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Our vacation in a Virginia state park was a wonderful idea. The lodge is beautiful and it has so much room. The park staff are super helpful, and the kids are having such a great time. We're learning all about Virginia's history, and Mark and I even have time for just the two of us. This has been a wonderful experience, and we've never felt so close as a family. We'd love for you to join us. Love, Virginia.
State Fair is bringing you the best of Virginia. My job is picking it up. Know any driving tunes?
They've been in the bathroom, right?
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
No fight songs. This could be a challenge.
Learn more at statefairva.org.
When disease problems hit your garden, one of the best ways to address them is careful pruning. Mark Viette shows us how in the garden.
Many of us in gardening have similar problems. Same problem that your neighbor has right down the street. And if you're growing apple trees or pears or roses, in some cases you might be experiencing disease problems. Could be bacterial, could be a fungus, or could even be a virus. But throughout the year, if you're finding dead parts of your plant on your, let's say for example here, this heirloom apple, you can prune out the dead portions. But it is important to follow a couple rules. First of all, to find out if that portion is truly dead, take a little penknife or a paring knife, and you're going to scratch the bark. And here, the bark is brown. When you get up into this portion of your bark, it's nice and green. So what you can do is prune out that dead portion. So just come in with a good shears, and you really want to prune to a bud, to a branch, and in many cases prune up to 8 inches even below where the bark is dead. In this case, I'm going to prune about 3 inches below. I'm going to prune to another side branch. And so what I've done is remove this portion, which is partially dead, and I can go through this whole apple tree and remove any dead branches any time of the year. Fire blight is very common in pears. It also can happen in crab apples and a few other trees. This is where it looks like the leaves have been torched, where someone took a flamethrower and burned the leaves. In fact, on pears, the leaves are entirely black. But the thing with fire blight is the leaves hang down and really don't fall off the tree for quite some time. So you can go in throughout the year and prune out, and you want to come about 8-10 inches below the burned leaves to a bud or a branch, or in this case here, on this crab apple, just come right there to that point, or I might even come a little further like this, because fire blight can get inside the tissue and the stems of your tree, and that can give you future problems. I'm going to give you the best tip right now. When you make a cut, for example, on this rose, you then will take your tool, if you're going to another plant, and you dip your tool, and then you might dry it off, or you let the sun dry it quickly. That helps prevent you from spreading a disease to another plant. The same thing is true for your big loppers. But again, if you keep them in there too long, they're going to rust. One thing you need to keep in mind that has changed over the past couple of years. Bleach was available in a concentrated form rather recently, And in the past, bleach was available in the normal formula of 2.75%, almost 3%. Now, it's 8.75%, so it's almost 3 times stronger. The key to having your bleach destroy viruses and bacteria and fungi is it can't be too strong. So what you're going to want to do is take 1 part of the concentrated bleach now, and to that you're going to add 30 parts water. Some people also use bleach to spray plants at a much more diluted rate. You got to remember, if you're reading old literature, the new literature shows that you need to really cut down your bleach with extra water. Last thing, roses. Again, one of my favorites, easy, carefree rose. If you forgot to prune it, again, you're going to want to go through and below where any dead or dieback is occurring, you're going to prune it. So I'm going to come in right here like this and prune 2 or 3 inches below and get rid of the old or possibly diseased. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
There's still time to enjoy fresh summer vegetables in your meals. We'll show you how next on Real Virginia.
State Fair is bringing you the best of Virginia. My job is picking it up. Know any driving tunes?
They've been in the bathroom, right?
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
No fight songs. This could be a challenge.
Learn more at statefairva.org.
Surprise!
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Fresh vegetables are still available in farmers markets and local grocery stores all across the state of Virginia. Why not use them in a pesto pasta salad? Former Miss America Caressa Jackson shows us how in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home, cooking today at the Meadow Event Park. Today I'm going to be making a pesto pasta because one of my viewers, Katie specifically, asked me if I could do a pasta dish that had no shellfish and no meat. So we're going to do a pesto pasta that has a little bit of asparagus and tomatoes. So first we're going to start with 16 ounces or 2 cups of dried shell pasta. And we're gonna bring that to a boil. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for our pasta to boil, we can go ahead and pan sear our vegetables. What you could do ahead of time is to bake your asparagus so that it's ready if you wanna save a little time. And you can get some sun-dried tomatoes in the produce section at your grocery store if you don't wanna use fresh tomatoes. So what we're gonna do is use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil just to coat the bottom of our pan and to prevent our vegetables from sticking. And then we're gonna go over here and cut up some of our vegetables. What I like to do with our asparagus, we're gonna be using about 1 cup to 1.5 cups. You can be as generous as you like depending on how much vegetables you want in your pasta. And we're gonna cut the ends off first and discard them. And then we're gonna cut about 1-inch pieces of our asparagus. And then we're gonna take cherry tomatoes and we will cut them in half. For this recipe, I'm using about 1 cup of cherry tomatoes. For a little bit of extra flavor, I have decided to use 1 heaping tablespoon of minced garlic, and that will go in our vegetable mixture just for some extra flavor. For asparagus, I've used about 1.5 cups. What we want to do is make sure that the asparagus, the tomatoes, and the garlic are evenly distributed through the pan. And once everything gets nice and mixed and you can see that the olive oil has coated it for the most part, we want to go ahead and crank our eye up to high. And let these cook for about 5 minutes. At this point, our pasta is done. It's cooked and it's drained. And our vegetables have been roasted up in the pan, and they have a nice brown texture to them, and the tomatoes are a little wilted. So we're ready to go when it comes to our mixing. So we want to start by adding our pasta to a large bowl. And then we will add our vegetables right on top of that. I also want to mention that you can season your vegetables any way you want during the cooking process. You can use salt, pepper, whatever you like, and you can do that to taste as desired. We want to mix this around, and then we're going to add about 1 cup of pesto sauce. One of the great things about this dish is that it can be served hot or cold. We're going to add 2/3 cups diced or crumbled mozzarella. And a little salt and pepper. The great thing about mixing this recipe when it's still hot instead of cold is that your mozzarella gets a chance to melt into your pasta, and sometimes it gets caught in the shells, and then you have a double bonus when you taste it. Now we are ready to serve. Or refrigerate if you choose to. And here we have pesto pasta with a little bit of asparagus and tomatoes. I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home. Come and get it.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
The United States is one of the world's leading producers of tomatoes, second only to China. Fresh market tomatoes are produced in every state in the nation, with commercial tomato production in about 20 states. Virginia is one of the top 6 states in the country for tomato production. The #1 tomato state is California. Nationwide, fresh market tomato acreage has been trending downward in recent decades. The new trend for tomato production has been to go indoors and grow year-round. In 2012, Virginia's tomato crop was valued at $62.4 million.
We all want healthy rivers and streams, but we can't do that without help from Virginia's landowners. Resource Management Plans, or RMPs, are part of a voluntary program that helps farmers get credit for cleaning up our waters. And once you have an RMP, you are exempt from any new water quality requirements for 9 years. The Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation has funds available to help you implement these plans. Contact the department today to learn more. Thank you.
This message sponsored by Virginia's agriculture community.
How can modern agriculture and historic preservation work together? Very nicely, according to Dave Milner, who reports on efforts to combine the two near Winchester.
The Red Bud Run corridor is a wonderful green space for Frederick County residents to bike, birdwatch, hike, and run. This pristine natural area is being quickly surrounded by new growth in the county. 150 years ago, it was also the site of one of the fiercest battles of the Civil War. It's being restored to its historic and natural landscape with the help of the U.S. Department of Agriculture and preservation groups.
We're standing right now in the heart of the 3rd Winchester battlefield, also known as Opequon. Specifically, this area, the historic landscape, is called the Middle Field. It is one of 3 principal historic landscapes where the heaviest fighting occurred throughout the morning and afternoon of September 19th, 1864. There actually were over 1,500 casualties in the Middle Field. This is the bloodiest portion of the entire 3rd Winchester battlefield. It's been said that every regimental commander in the Union Army that fought across this Middle Field was either killed or wounded.
Before the Battle of Winchester, this was a working farm, owned by one family since colonial times. It's still a working farm through a leasing agreement with a local farmer. It turns out that farming is a great partner in historic preservation because it helps generate income for the property and syncs up with the historic use of the land.
We've found that the best way of managing our cultural resources and landscape open space resources is through active farming management. So we are implementing best management conservation practices to keep these historic farms productive agriculture working farms well into the future.
The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service works with property owners on a voluntary basis to develop and accomplish conservation goals. In this case, they're offering advice to the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields Foundation and other groups to improve water quality and prevent erosion on the battlefield's farmland.
The results of practicing good conservation have a lot of different benefits, not only to the environment, but also economic benefits to the farmer through better production, through lower inputs. In other words, as much fertilizer or lime is not needed now as perhaps it once was, since management is better. Obviously, water quality improvement and putting in alternative water. And yeah, a stream that flows through the property has now been fenced off. The water was free before, but with that watering trough, you get better benefits to the cattle.
The Red Bud Run stream divides the historic battlefield into north and south elements. Both sides saw action throughout the Third Battle of Winchester, with the most significant action occurring on the south side of Red Bud Run on September 19, 1864.
We've been undertaking a major restoration effort out here, which we call the Middle Field Restoration Project. And within this 30-acre area, we're looking to restore both native bobwhite quail habitat, but bringing back native prairie grassland, native warm season grasses that you would have found, throughout the Shenandoah Valley in the 19th century.
Restoring the natural habitat is crucial for our native birds and wildlife, but it's also being done to provide a more authentic experience for history buffs. Visitors will see and experience the same landscape Confederate and Union soldiers did on that tragic September day. And modern conservation and farming methods will assure the landscape and the watershed remain as clean or cleaner than they did back then. In Frederick County, this is Dave Miller reporting.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We're so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.